Good evening. So I got all dressed up for y'all this evening for my training class, Taking Back Control. And I wanted to bring you this free training to introduce my big news at the end. But we're going to go ahead and just get started because basically I have so much to go over and I want to be mindful of your time tonight. So, first off, let me just tell those that don't know who I am. I'm Shondell Wilhite, and I am a survivor, thriver of sexual and domestic abuse. And the purpose for this training tonight is basically, like I said, to introduce some big news that I will give to you in the end. But this is basically going to go over a lot of the things that I'm going to be telling you about at the end of this presentation. So, a little bit about my story. As a young girl, I grew up in a domestic violent household, and so therefore, for me, that's what I saw to be love. I thought that abuse is was just a way of life. I just thought that because I saw so much of it, that equaled love to me. And so, as I was growing up, I I had a stepfather, and then I eventually met my biological dad. And it just took me a little while to get accustomed to calling my biological dad dad. But with that being said, and not having a man in the house, my mom raised me and my little sister by herself. And I did see both of my parents, both of my dads, and I developed a relationship with my biological dad, but basically I was just with my siblings. And so there really wasn't um, um, a bond that was created with us. So as I was growing up, I was looking for love, right, in all the wrong places. And that caused me to just experience a lot of things at a very, very young age. And I was exposed to a lot of things. A lot of older guys were trying to take advantage of me because I was very young and very naive, right? And so that just led to a lot of other things, to teen pregnancy, to attempted suicide, to domestic violence, to sexual abuse. So it led to a lot of things. Hello, Jen. And so, what I want to talk about tonight is a little bit about how I was able to overcome those things, and now that I want to be able to show you how to do the same. So, I don't know why I'm nervous. I talk to y'all all the time. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get started on. I have a little presentation. I have all of this little get up behind me, so hopefully it don't fall down. And if it does, and all this other stuff I got set up here, just pray for me. Don't, we're going to keep it moving. So anyway, the title of this training is Taking Back Control. And of course my brand is Shine. So here we go. I know that as women, a lot of us ask ourselves, why do I keep attracting the same kind of partner? So we're going to be talking about 3 talking points today, and that's one of them. The next one is borderline personality disorder, and the last is how to avoid attracting abusive partners. So there are 5 factors that I have that I believe attracts abusive relationships. And basically, it is your response to how you react to the person himself or herself. And so these are the 5 factors that I say are the reasons why we attract abusive relationships is because you want to feel loved and you jump right into a relationship too fast without knowing the person, right? We always feel like, I need somebody in my life. I need a man. I need a woman. I need a good man. I need a good woman. And so we want to feel loved and we jump into these relationships too fast without getting to know the person. And then we ignore the red flags that suggest the person is controlling. So I'm so very guilty of that part. I'm guilty of ignoring the red flags because I like the person or I'm getting to like the person, and these red flags are like a distraction. So they're basically just there to where it's like I see them, but I really don't see them. I I can ignore that. I can fix this part of this person, right? That's what we always think, that we can fix the person, and that's where we go wrong. So ignoring the red flags that suggest the person is controlling. So I'll give you an example. So I met this guy, right? And I had on, like the workout outfit. And so let me turn this around while I tell the story. So I had the little workout outfit on, and I like to wear it because it's comfortable. I'm not necessarily exercising; it's just comfortable. And so he asked me, he was like, "Have you been working out today?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just comfortable." And so he said, I every time I see women that have those outfits on, they need to be working out because it just looks trashy otherwise. I was like, oh, so you saying I look trashy? So I should have had a little red flag. Bing, that's a red flag. Because now I already know that he's going to be trying to control the things that I wear. Red flag number one. So don't collect them, as I've mentioned before. When you see the first red flag, run. Just don't even sit around to collect more red flags. The next one is you are familiar with the abusive vibes, so you magnetize to it. True love is just unfamiliar to you because you're so used to the abuse that has gone on in your life that you don't even recognize when something good and real has come along. It's like foreign, unfamiliar, right? And so that is another reason why we as women, and guys may say it too, but I know I say it all the time. Like, do I have a stamp on my forehead that says, I need all the abusive guys to just line up, and that's who I'm gonna be with? Yeah, because you're so familiar with the abusive vibes that you don't even recognize when someone good comes along and is showing you a true sense of love. And then next, you avoid or deny the abuse, the addiction, and the affairs that enable the behavior to continue. So you just act like, nothing ever happened. You know, he just, he didn't really hit me hard. He just slapped me in my face. But, I said this. So, I probably deserve that. Or just whatever kind of addiction he has. Like, I don't like smokers. I don't like cigarette smokers and that kind of thing. So when you're ignoring those things in the beginning, you know, that's something that's just going to keep going on. Or if you see somebody that's really actually using drugs, that's, you know, shooting up or using cocaine or whatever situation may be, and when you're with these people or this person, and you always busting them with somebody else. He was with her, or she was with him, and that kind of thing. But you ignore or deny that it's happening, and so you enable the abuse to continue. What you have to do is cut it off right then. Cut it off. Or just say, hey, if this is what you're going to do, this is how you're going to be around me or with me, then I'm not the one for you. So you can continue to do what you're doing, but I'm out. Right? And then the last thing that I feel like attracts us to abusive relationships is we are captivated by the charm of the person abusive, that we believe we're being loved. So it's like we're so used to the abuse that it's sexy to us. Like, ooh, he jealous. He thinks that um, I was doing this and he got jealous of this, and you think that's cute. You think that's that, like, that's a sexy thing, and that you believe you're being loved by him when he's showing you this jealous side, and he's acting out in a way that is unhealthy. Like, he's like yelling and screaming and grabbing on you and cussing you out, and who the hell is that, and that kind of thing. So it's the response to the abusive behavior that may signal to the abuser that it is okay for us to accept it, right? And so now we're going to move into, and I chose this because I felt like, wow, this is something that I may have or may have had. We don't never want to talk about or really show what our faults are or whatever. We always want to blame it on somebody else, right? And so, oh yeah, Jen, yes, I know the feeling. So, the borderline personality disorder is a mental health disorder that impacts the way you think and feel about yourself and others, causing problems functioning in everyday life. Includes self image issues, difficulty managing emotions and behaviors. So, I chose this because as I was just doing some research, I was like, man, I always had issues with the way I looked and difficulty managing my emotions and behaviors. And, I was always out for revenge. Whenever somebody did something to me, I was always out to get you. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get you. And that's how I was. And so what causes this is being a victim of emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. So then that explained a lot of it. Exposed to long term fear and distress as a child. And with me growing up in a stressful household where there was domestic violence and there was abuse, that was another thing that I said what made sense, that I was possibly suffering some borderline personality disorders. Neglected by one or both parents. I can't necessarily say I was neglected because I did have my parents in my life and grew up with someone with a serious mental health condition. So, with mental health being so serious nowadays, so many of us are going through mental health disorders, and we don't want to admit what they are when they are actually mental disorders. We don't want to go and seek the help that we need when we have these kinds of issues going on. So that was the other reason why I wanted to bring awareness to this situation, because it's so much of this that's going on with people that uh, have been victims of emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. Have these borderline personality disorders. And so, a person that has this type of disorder, they use something that's called it's called splitting. So it's like you're always defending your partner of whatever bad he's doing or she's doing. You're always defending them. So it's like you will internalize the bad as existing within. Like, you are the blame for the abuse that's happening to you, and like you deserved it, in order for you to protect the good image of the partner. And then it's like you're portrayed as the bad person covering up the reality. So what came to mind when I saw this is like, I know there is a story of a lady, well educated, beautiful woman, and she was the minister's wife. She was a minister's wife, and he was very, very abusive to her, and she ended up breaking her silence and telling her story. But in order for him to uphold this good image that he had, with his congregation and with all the people that he came in contact with, she would internalize the bad things, like she was the bad person, and just so that he could always look like the good guy, right? And so that's what I think a lot of us do as well. We internalize this thing, and we try to make it seem like it's nothing, and we don't want to talk down on our partners and say that they're this bad person or whatever. So we tend to keep all of that inside, right? We keep all of that inside, but in reality, it's damaging us. It's really, truly damaging us. And so we have to learn how to break the silence and stop making it seem as though everything that is happening is our fault as far as abuse is concerned, because that's not it at all. Okay? And so we're going to move on to the next thing here. So, 4 ways to avoid attracting abusive partners. Now, for those that want the slides, you can just give me a thumbs up in the comments, and also I will put a link in here, which I forgot to do. I'll put a link in here so that I can email you these slides, because I think this is very valuable information that you can use, and you can also share with someone else that is going through this type of situation. So, 4 ways to avoid attracting abusive partners, and these are the 4 reasons that I came up with. And the first one is we must be able to meet our own needs. That is the key to success. So when we're able to meet our own needs, then we're more prone to being happy, right? Because we're always trying to satisfy somebody else. We're always trying to please other people. We're always trying to do other things for everybody else so that we can feel accepted and that the person doesn't leave us, right? We want to do all of this stuff because we fear the person leaving us, And so we just totally neglect ourselves, and we don't do what we need to do for ourselves. So we must meet our own needs. And what I mean by that is, like, for our physical needs, we have to do what it's going to take for us to be safe, right? So being in an abusive relationship, we know that that is a dangerous situation. And a lot of us don't even realize, right, that we're in these abusive situations. We don't realize that we're being battered because we're so used to the abuse. Remember what we talked about in the beginning, because it's familiar to us. So we always will go with the abusive vibes. So in order for us to meet our own needs, we have to shelter ourselves. We have to keep ourselves safe. We have to love ourselves. We have to mentally stimulate our minds and be aware of things that are going on with us and have knowledge of things. This particular training is education for you. So you have to have knowledge of things, because a lot of people just don't know. A lot of people just don't understand domestic violence, right? And they always like, well, I just don't get it. If somebody is just doing this to you all the time, why don't you just leave? Why don't you just do this, or why don't you just do that? And if it was just that simple, people would just do that, right? But if you have not ever experienced being abused ever, then quite naturally you're not going to understand what that person is going through or has gone through. And so that's when you just need to be educated and learn and become aware of the things that goes on with sexual and domestic abuse. Because with the state of the world right now and everything that's going on in this world, all of this killing, these murders, this silent killer of COVID-19, when this thing is all over with, people, domestic violence is still going to be here. This killer is in our homes. And if you don't physically leave this earth, then mentally you can become dead. Right? So that's the reason why I'm trying to educate you on domestic violence, because I want you to be able to understand what a woman is going through, what a man is going through, because men experience this as well. Men experience domestic violence as well. And so the next thing is to set boundaries. Set boundaries. When you set boundaries, you are basically in control. You teach people how to treat you. And you have to do that right off the bat. Because if you don't, trust and believe me, people will feel like they can treat you however they want to treat you. So you have to set boundaries for yourself. Whatever someone is doing to you that doesn't feel good and that's violating you, you have to set your boundaries right then, regardless as to who it is, whether it's your family member, whether it's your friend, whether it's a stranger, whoever it is. You set those boundaries so that you teach people how to treat you. And then the next thing is know the signs and what to look for in abusive relationships. Like I said, when the guy came at me with the whole you look trashy and women look trashy, which was basically directed to me, right? Women look trashy in workout clothes when they're not working out in them. Oh my goodness, that's red flag, right? So the insults, those are red flags. Unhealthy habits. If every time you see this person, he is drinking or she is drinking, that can become a problem, because you already know what comes along with drugs and alcohol, right? yelling, destroying property, that kind of thing, those are signs of an abusive person. And what you should look for in trying to avoid being in with an abusive partner. And then lastly, make personal development a must. Because when you make personal development a must, it's like you're working on yourself, which is what I do all the time. I'm constantly working on myself. So what happens is the abusive person is attracted to something about you. And it's almost like he can see those signs that we talked about in the beginning. Like, oh, even if you're not desperate, you putting yourself out there so far to like, I really want to be in a relationship. I really want to feel loved. And they can sense that. They can really sense that. And so they'll come in and charm you with all of this stuff. And then, since we're so familiar with the abusive vibes, we think that that's sex and we like the bad boy. It's like the good girl like the bad boy kind of thing. And so we just ignore all of the signs that he's throwing out to us because we're like, oh man, he's fine as hell. He got it going on. He got this, he got that. And you just totally ignored the fact that he just called out another woman out of her name. You just totally ignored the fact that he said something that was kind of insulting to you, but he said it kind of like in a joking way, you know. And you looked over all of those things that he was doing because he is so damn fine, right? Or she is so damn fine. She's sexy. So you looked over all of that stuff. And so here's how we can know that we are getting to a point in our lives that we are taking control back. Because once we're working on ourselves and we're setting these boundaries and we're letting people know and teaching people how to treat us and that kind of thing, and then we're aware of the warning signs and what we need to look for when it comes to abusive partners, then we have more control of our own life, right? Because if you put all the responsibility into a partner, for that partner to make all the decisions for you, like you can't make decisions for yourself, right? That's going to cause a problem. So when you are self-aware that you have the ability to make changes in your life, you're in control. When you have the tools to help you in your personal growth, you are in control. When you can rescue the broken person within yourself. So you have went back in time and you have explored your past and you figured out what happened to the little girl, what happened to the little boy. And you can address that. You can talk about that and you can heal from that. You're in control. When you can make decisions on your own, you're in control. When you have the freedom to do whatever you want to do, you are in control. And when you can shift your mindset to attract everything that you want in your life, you are in control. And so this is the reason why I named this training Taking Back Control, because once we have gotten to a point to where we're strong enough to be able to stand up for ourselves and we're able to make our own decisions and people are not making decisions for us and telling us about ourselves, and we can start telling you about who we are and what we are, then we're in control of our life. We're gaining control back in our lives, right? And so for abusive people, that's what it's all about. Their whole motive is control, being possessive and controlling. And so when you can get out of that situation and you can start doing things for yourself and you can start standing up for yourself and your children, because a lot of times you're not strong enough to do it on your own. And for me, it was my children. My children is what made me leave my abusive relationship, because the abuse turned to them. And trust and believe, if you have somebody that is abusive, the abuse will turn to the children eventually, especially if the children aren't theirs. But in my case, it was his child, right? So this is what I wanted to bring to you all tonight. And also to let you know that I have a brand new course that I am launching. And it is an online course, and it's called Taking Back Control. It is a step-by-step guide that you can use for a lifetime in order for you to feel good about yourself, to start healing from your abuse, and to be able to be in total control of your life. It's a 6-week course, and this is what I do. I help women that are impacted by sexual and domestic abuse to heal and take back control over their lives. And this course teaches how to be in control of your life in 6 weeks. Now, will you be totally healed in 6 weeks? Of course not. This is a lifetime guide, as I mentioned. And this is basically going to be something that you can refer back to. These are steps that I took myself in order for me to get to where I am today. So it's a work in progress. And it's something that you have to do each and every day of your life. And here's an overview of what the course entails. Explore your past. So we talk about the things that happen from your early childhood, your teenage years, and your young adult years, and see where there was a breakdown. And then we shift the mindset. So this is unveiling what's happened in your past. And then from there, we start to discover you by learning self-awareness, self-love, and self-care. And then we go into your freedom so that you know what your rights are. You know what the power of forgiveness is. And then you become empowered. And as a bonus lesson, I teach you how to shine. That's all I ever talk about. Shine is my brand. Shine is basically just speaking out for yourself, helping yourself, igniting your own fire, never looking back and going back into those abusive situations and evolving. And with my life being the way that it is, and you all know my story, most of you know my story, and what I've done just in under 2 years. So it has taken me this long, okay, to get to a point in my life to where I actually feel free. Like I have so much freedom now that it's just I can't even express it, because I feel like, I'm just in total control of my life, that I am teaching people how to treat me, and basically just having the freedom and flexibility that I have each and every day of my life is beautiful. Beautiful, right? And the way I went about doing it, I don't suggest that you do it. But I wanted so much to be totally in control of my life because I was tired of people controlling my mind. And that's why I teach shifting your mindset in this course as well. And so the course packaging plan is this. So you have inside this course packaging plan the course itself. You get one-on-one coaching for 1 hour, 6 weeks. Responses to your questions and feedback via email within 24 hours. And this course is lifetime access. You can have this course for the rest of your life. You can share it with people in your household so that you can also teach them how to be in control of their lives. When you are a person that has low self-esteem and you have a daughter, there's no way that you can teach your daughter to not have low self-esteem if you don't. So this is something that you can pass on from generation to generation, right? And so that is the reason why I created this course, because I want to make a difference in my own family. I want to make a difference in other people's lives. I don't want to see domestic violence anymore. So whatever I could do to create something that could help reduce this pandemic, because this is definitely a pandemic, then I was all for it. I have worked really hard to create this, and I did it with your help. I've been a part of groups on Facebook, and I see what the women are going through. I know what I went through, and so that is how I created this course. And the bonus is having a spotlight on my radio talk show, Shine with Shondell. And also, Shine the Lesson is another bonus that you will get in this course packaging plan. The course itself is valued at $3,500. The 1 hour one-on-one strategy sessions for 6 weeks is valued at $1,200. Response to questions, feedback within 24 hours is valued at $100. Shine the Lesson is valued at $200. And then you got the bonus, the radio spotlight, the lifetime access is just priceless. The value of this entire course is $5,000. The full price is $3,500, but today through August the 1st, you get this course for only $497. And mind you, the transformation alone in just being able to take yourself through this entire course, the transformation alone is well worth more than $500, right? So I would love for you to share this with somebody that you know, somebody that you know has gone through sexual and domestic abuse, someone that has had issues growing up in their lifespan that is just not quite able to get through life without just having breakdowns all the time. This course will help you, I promise. And it's going to take you step by step. And for 6 weeks, within those 6 weeks, you will see such a transformation within yourself as far as how you're growing and how you're developing on a daily basis. And then that way you're less prone to be attracted to these abusive people, and that you are able to get into healthy relationships with people that are going to treat you the way you deserve to be treated. And we have to be kind to ourselves because we don't deserve to be treated like shit, okay? We deserve to be treated with love and kindness. And that's what this is all about. So I would love for you to sign up for this course. If you are interested, you can send me an inbox, or you can respond in this particular video. And I'm also going to put the link on here. I forgot to put the link on here to where you can send me um, your email as well if you want these slides, because this is something that you too can use towards helping you to grow and develop and not have this sense of, I'm not worthy anymore. So that is the conclusion of the training. I hope that it was helpful to you. I hope that you saw this as valuable information, and I hope to see your inboxes. I hope to see your emails, your yeses, and everything about this course and want to sign up. So I will talk to you all later, and have a good night.